Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Darksiders 2. It's pretty nice to meet the icy reskin of the Lich. That's really all that's going on here. He does not summon as often, I think, as the regular Lich in base game. But to make up for that, they usually surround these ice liches with minions who are encased in ice. And they also have a really annoying property, which is they shoot ice bolts at you. And those ice bolts will freeze you solid, and you have to mash out of them. You have to mash out of being frozen. There are a couple of different enemies that will inflict that status on you. The Liches being the most prevalent of them. It's not as common of a status ailment as the burning one from the Abyssal Forge was, which I'm thankful for, because it's a lot more annoying. Slight damage over time, even as strong as that DOT can be, is not nearly as bad as being incapacitated over and over and over. And for solving the puzzles from last episode and then fighting our way through that arena, including the Ice Lich, we get ourselves a key and we can start to finish out this part of the dungeon. Once we're done here, we still have to get the lantern for the statue there so we can redirect the beams. Once we're done with all of that, we will get yet another key. That key will be the one for the spire, which is the bulk of Argul's tomb. And it's also going to be where we fight the boss of the tomb. So we've gone and we've looped all the way back around to the beginning. But this time... Whoa, I couldn't go any further than the threshold of the gate for a second. I was, like, caught in place. And we have a whole new wing of this dungeon opened up to us now. You know, to be honest, if this dungeon had better enemies, like even a few good new ones, this might actually be my favorite DLC. But instead, like, the enemies make it pretty boring, even though I like the puzzles and the layout of the place pretty well. It's also got a very underwhelming boss. It's not my least favorite, but we'll get to that. So I think, where am I oh, there we go. Kind of placing this at a weird angle, but that'll be okay. And then... Good, he grabbed on the first try. Normally, that takes a couple of tries for some reason. And then I think we want this one charged up. Good. So when we come through, we land on the piece of wood. Like, a lot of this Voidwalker traversal stuff, I said this back in the Ivory Citadel. Oh, we got Big Icy Dragon. We got a small glimpse of. We'll see more of him in a little bit. The Warcraft 3 Frostworm. I mentioned this in the Ivory Citadel, but, like, these creative ways that they let you do traversal-style puzzles with the Voidwalker, I just love them. It's when the traversal in this game is at its strongest, I think. Because they get really creative with this stuff. Like, look at that. That's so cool. I honestly wish there was more stuff like that. Especially when you're combining the Voidwalker, all the normal traversal mechanics that they introduce you to from the start, and the hook shots. I think that's all really neat. And it's pretty obvious what we have ahead of us here. As always, pretty formulaic about the layout and the pacing of the dungeon. We had a big puzzle section, we had a big traversal section. Now we'll have a really massive combat arena that is just teeming with pretty samey enemies. But this is where stuff like Harvester and the Whirlwind, the what is that, the 4-hit Reaper combo that goes all around you, that will come in handy here. The Harvester especially puts in work. Harvester always puts in work, but especially in an enclosed circular arena like this where you're just flooded, inundated with enemies, so good. But I think it whipped a lot of those somehow. It was ugly. Woo. I need to pop at least one healing potion. Yeah, it was a bad whiff. That last Harvester I used. Because they could have at least sent a lot of them. Ooh! Arcane and Arcane crit up plus health. I think I saw Guilt on there, but that could have been a more useful stat, but everything went green, so we'll take it. I don't think anything went red, everything went green. And now we finally come across all the way to the other side of the chasm. So we'll place a Voidwalker point over there, on the other side, and this is our shortcut back, with the lantern that we saw earlier in hand. So that's perfect. Bring this back to the statue in the first room. And then, we just have to do one more Voidwalker puzzle, and it's time to redirect some beams. Azrael would love this game if you could see it right now. He's chained up in the wrong dungeon. He should have been chained up in the Land of the Dead. He should have been one of the Lord of Boneses. Lords of the Dead. But then we would never have to go and retrieve him. He'd be so content to just hang out and redirect beams all day. And we can get to this door that we just opened up with the Voidwalker portals and the beam redirection from a door that I think was open to us earlier. We just had no reason to go through it. That should be right over here on the left. They even freshen up the beam redirection puzzles with the Voidwalker, so that's cool. Like, the Voidwalker makes everything better. They use that so well. Like, there really aren't wasted dungeon items in this game. Everything feels like it has a really well-defined purpose that freshens up the gameplay and the puzzles, and adds a really unique, interesting twist to them. Oh, shit. Don't mind if I do. Let's see, there's a Voidwalker point upstairs, which we do not need anymore. Instead, we just want to come straight down into yet another arena. We had the recolor of the Lich, make it frosty and blue, and now we also come to the Icy Tormentor, what was the Frostbane Titan. Fancy name for a ballot swap. Who can also do that? Oh, shit. I think that's the only time we've been frozen so far. Might not be the last, because we still have to deal with this problem. And he really likes that Ice Breath attack. Actually, he has 2 attacks. That would have also frozen me if that landed. It's a kind of a frontal shockwave. That's just a sweep. And we get a little bit of iframes, I think, during the Reaper animation, so that saved us as well. Ooh, that's nice. A little mid-battle heal from the level up. Just off of an errant hit. Ooh, I see a nice scythe. It's shock damage, though. So no feeding that to a possessed weapon. Because I do not care about that status or that elemental effect. Just need to clear some of these dudes out. And the Tormentor is being awfully nice right now. Yeah, I should have just done this from the start. have to be careful. This is the curse. When I just recognize something and then immediately get hit by it as soon as I mention it. Whew. I have no wrath potions left, so I have to even build the wrath up the old-fashioned way, so I can just harvest these things out of the way while I focus on the Titan. Okay, we're out of the woods now. Got a little tiny bit of health left in that big, nice crit. We'll do the trick. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That gives us the Spire Key, so that we can now go outside. And they even give us a shortcut to go back outside. This will bring us back to Ostagoth. First, there's a chest up here. Probably has garbage in it, but maybe it'll have some wrath potions at least. So I don't have to buy them from Ostagoth. No, a health potion I don't need. And a pretty bad blue gauntlet. The Spire Key will open up the main part of Argul's tomb. And this brings us back to Ostagoth. So let's shop real quick. Even get a camera flyby so we know where the hell to go.
All new items from lands near and far.
So my Sherpa for Yakuza, Demon Protector, aka Jack W, or Epic Assassin in the Discord, left another comment on part 20 in case you didn't see it, with more biblical lore. Because I think when that episode went up, we were either knee-deep in the Ivory Citadel, or we were just entering Lost Light. This time he was explaining the spheres of heaven, the different, like, the hierarchy of angels and cherubim and seraphim. All that cool stuff. And aside from just wanting to thank him again for that, because those are always a nice read, and you should check it out. Also, I love shooting portals through portals. Always neat. I was actually going to do an episode about religious lore and, like, the tangential learning opportunities provided by Bayonetta, with the spheres of heaven, you know, like the dominions, the virtues, the principalities, the powers, and so on. By the way, this is what we are going to need to redirect a beam to at the end of this wing of the dungeon. It's a little long-term goal. Yeah, all that stuff, plus the other, like, non-Judeo-Christian influences in Bayonetta. I was going to do that for an episode of Tiny Voices, that just didn't make the cut for Season 3, so I would maybe look out for that in Season 4. But, like, I first heard about the idea of tangential learning, and it's something like, you know, I understood that concept intrinsically, that, like, influences of media can be jumping off points to learn about other things from. But I learned that there was a word for it in, like, this larger body of study on what tangential learning actually is from this old Extra Credits episode that I always really liked. Probably one of my favorite episodes of Extra Credits. And I think it's just titled Tangential Learning. It's all about, I think it was Sephiroth and Jehovah and some of the Judeo-Christian influences of FF7, and how you can kind of follow that branch out and learn a lot about, like, religious history and like, theology, just from, like, basically wiki diving and hopping from wiki page to wiki page, or going deeper into it if you like. But just first learning about some of this stuff in FF7, just the sheer existence of it, and going, I wonder what that is, I wonder what this comes from. And that being a jumping off point to learn some stuff from. Not that FF7 itself is a good teacher of theology or religious history or whatever, but it provides a kind of platform for you to go, I want to learn more about this, and go, you know, elsewhere. Just a starting point. That's tangential learning. And there's so many games, especially, like, Darksiders with the religious influences, and in Darksiders 2, some of the other high fantasy stuff, that provides such really cool opportunities for tangential learning. And Demon has really become a part of that process of tangential learning by providing a lot of like biblical background and stuff for what's going on in the background of these games and their lore. And I appreciate that a lot. I really do. Like, I never want to stop learning. So I always love those comments that just teach me something, or try to teach others even if it's something that I already know. There are always people who come across those and go, huh, I never knew that before, cool. And I guess all this to say that, one, I appreciate the hell out of that, and this community is cool as hell. So thank you all for that. Now, back to some Darksiders 2, which I'm still playing. And I managed to kind of tunnel vision my way through all that. Cool. We're still not at the cool part of the spire yet. The part that requires a little bit of thought. But we're getting there. There's a pretty nifty multi-layered puzzle coming up here as soon as we deal with more Ice Stalker skins. It's just the enemy variety in the DLC is so lacking. But I feel like it's especially apparent here. Because it's even the same moveset on all of these things. And that really does make an even more poor case for the DLC and the value of the DLC. Than just knowing that, you know, this stuff is like 45 minutes long for $10. It's not just that, but it's also, we're gonna come back here. You saw the lantern behind the locked gate. We'll be back for that. But it's also just that there's very little in the way of new stuff. It's also why I appreciate the bosses, though, in the DLC. Because they did, thankfully, go out of their way to introduce some new stuff there. That did not look like that was going to catch. And now we pop out the other side because we shot a charged portal. That's really cool. Just going back and forth through those two sets of portals that we had set up. And once again, solve a puzzle, get a fight. Solve a fight, get a key. And we are going to do our best to dispose of the Frostweaver, the Ice Lich, very quickly, so that he and his bullshit status ailment does not, oh shit, become a problem. I was going for a harvest there to knock him back and get some iframes, but I didn't realize until it was too late that I was out of wrath. And even if in that exact moment I had popped a wrath potion, it wouldn't have mattered, because he was already midway into the casting animation for the ice bolts. See how nasty that is when enemies are around? You're shielded in ice, you should at least take some kind of mitigated damage from that. Like, you can't evade, but you're encased in ice, so maybe you take 50% damage or something. Wishful thinking. Oh well, we got our incredible glaive, the Highwind Pike, which is even giving us health on crit. That's where a lot of that's coming from. It's also why I'm relying on that a little bit instead of just popping a potion. We have a lot of means of getting health back between our teleport slash and the glaives now, even if we do manage to run out of potions. There's a better look at the frost worm. And a really cool puzzle here. So we're going to charge both of these portals in the floor up. And what do you think we're going to do with this block? We're going to shove them in. And they're just going to bounce around inside for a while. Whoops, this is the wrong one to go through. And you can actually stop the block from coming through the portal just by standing under it. But we want to get up here. And then we're going to pull the death grip out. And as this thing is high in the air, bouncing around, We're gonna drag it over to the upper ledge. I think that's so novel. I really appreciate the design of a lot of the puzzles in this game. They're really good. Like, the novelty, even if they're not these big elaborate brainbusters, the novelty is really high, and I appreciate that. That opens every single one of the gates. And you can see this is an area we've been before, that heavily gated area, where we ran by the lantern. And we're not done with that block either. We have a couple of things that we have left to do. So I think we're going to leave the lantern right there. It should be good there. And the block is also coming with us for a little while. It's taking a trip with us. Or we're taking a trip with it. We're going to set it up in front of the Voidwalker point so that we can stand atop it and then grapple. I think it just clipped through the lantern, so we can grapple the lantern and then jump through the Voidwalker point. Otherwise, we would not be able to get the lantern up to the second floor. We're going to fire another portal up to the second floor, then get our death grip out. And this way we can actually transport the lantern around. This actually leaves us very close to the statue that we have to put it on once we jump down. We have one more thing to do with the lantern. This is a shortcut back to the statue room. You can see it right ahead of us. We just have to set it down on the pressure plate, which lowers the gate, and then death grip it across so the gate doesn't come up, preventing us from getting back to the room. And then, like before, we don't just have to set it and then rotate it. We also have to do just one quick little Voidwalker. It's not even a puzzle, really. We just redirect the beam here, shoot a Voidwalker point over here, and then there's another one that goes across to the locked door that I showed you earlier on, which is this one. Boom, that's open. Now we can go up to the boss. And for the most part, the spire is completely solved. We have just the boss of the spire of the Argul's Tomb DLC left. Oh, there might be one more arena actually. That looks like what we're going up to. Unless this is just a boss fountain, which it could be. Yep, that's what it is. Oh, I could use that last one. Oh, and it is an arena. Oh, that's right, because we still need a key. We still need the key from this. Because remember, there was the locked door as well. Ah, yeah, okay. I always manage to forget about that key. And, of course, once we grab the key, that's the trigger point for everything in the room to come to life. And this is a much more open room, so it's not as claustrophobic to fight in. You're not swamped as often. A little bit of room to breathe and to get enemies off of you, and then to just focus fire on one or two or three. Also, if you want to make your slow weapons feel a lot faster, use the scythe crossover attacks. It will speed up the attack animation for the hammers of the axes or the scythes dramatically. Just do one or two hits with a scythe, which is already fast by default. Then hit triangle to go to your heavy slow weapon. Oops, I meant to pop Reaper form there. This might kill the one. And then I think the other one's low on health anyway, so whatever. Yeah, the other one went down to about half. Just wanted less complication there. Like, two stalkers at once, two of the big ones. Never fun to fight on their own. Ooh, you pivoted on your heel. Son of a bitch. And I'm on fire? Wait, was he on fire? Because it looked like the numbers were coming at me and I was taking damage. Weird. That's suspicious. And now this will provide us one more shortcut back to the main hall, where we encountered this locked boss door before. Now that the Lich has got stitches, it's time for the final boss.
I see an enemy before me, ready for his end.
You have the soul of a great will.
Why do you serve the Lost King?
I serve those who summon me, my essence incarnated by their will.
I mean to destroy you.
You may destroy this form, but you cannot destroy me. Mine is not a soul to be fed to the well, for within me beats the pure power of the abyss. None can escape it.
None are beyond death.
Then come, prove.
Frostbane has a pretty cool design, but it's a tremendously disappointing fight. Congratulations, you've now seen most of its moveset. It's got two other things that it does. And part of that is a much less interesting version of what the Abyssal Forge did, where it kind of retreated so you can't do any more damage to it, but, you know, with the Abyssal Forge, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of stuff to dodge, while you can't damage it, so it's still engaging. Frostbane just takes the air where you can't hit it anymore and lobs really, really heavily telegraphed projectiles at you, and then does the shitty little dive at you. And he does this pretty fucking often. Oh wow. I think I dodged just a split second too early. Followed up with a perfect dodge. This is a boring ass fight. There is nothing good I can say about it. Occasionally he'll dive into the air and try to freeze you with a stomp. Blah. I think he takes to the air at least 4, maybe 5 times. It looks like every 20% instead of every 25. I think eventually, sometime around maybe the halfway mark, or maybe the 3rd flight, he adds a whole extra set of volleys to make it even more intense and interesting. Fuck this DLC. Oh, here we go. Things are gonna change, right? He's calling upon the power of the abyss. No, his moveset stays the same. Oh, let's get ready for him to take to the air again soon. I have nothing to say about this fight. Oh. Oh, I actually got hit. Holy shit. And it did like a whole 300 damage. You could probably face tank this. And that would be completely fine. You didn't even try to hit me there. Oh, and since he's all abyss-ridden now, did the extra volley. And then just did not even come close to hitting me. Oh, that kind of sucked. He just ran up and headbutted me. Ah, that tail whip is really fast. I'm gonna get for it. Yep. I knew that I was way too close to him. He was already winding the tail whip up before I even got behind it. What is this boss even? That should be the next flight phase. Oh, I think this is the last one. Oh, he hit me while he's running up to take flight. Cool. They should have made this a dance, like the Hagen dance in Nax, and WoW. That would have at least been something. Should have made this the Hagen DDR dance. It already kind of looks like a WoW dragon boss, right? Nah, I'm onto your shit now. Nah, I'm in here. Oh, good. Did just barely have enough iframes to not get frozen. Please die. I'm so very tired of this fight already. Ah, took the air to prolong this even more. You know what? I will compliment the fight. The ending animation's cool. That's the Tomb of the Deposed King, though. Very underwhelming end to a 45-minute, $10 DLC.
So you return. I suppose you want a share of the treasure.
Fear not, Rider. Ostagoth has his reward. Browse to your heart's content.
While we browse his wares, I'm just going to stock back up. And we are just going to go ahead and cut back to Lost... Oh yeah, and we get these. Some arm blades that I probably will not use. We're going to go ahead and cut back to where we're supposed to be in the main game, because we're all out of DLC for now. With the Ivory Citadel done and the Archon dead, we are back to the Tree of Life to speak with the Crowfather.
I have the angel key.
Then your task nears its end. I can open the way, Death. But you must find the other key.
The demon key.
Yes. Tread lightly. There is not that way but shadow. I will remain here at the tree, should you have need of me on your quest.
It's to the Kingdom of the Dead. So we now have the mirror opposite of Lost Light, Shadow's Edge, to go to. That will be our final... It's barely a hub. It's less of a hub than Lost Light, even. And it contains a single dungeon. It's short and sweet, and it introduces a new mechanic, a new twist on the Voidwalker. And I like it. What we're coming up to is pretty much the end game. There's some good stuff in store for us there. So if Lost Light is an outpost for the angels, then Shadow's Edge is that same outpost, but for demons. Nice engraving. And really cool skybox. Complete with the black hole sun.
Welcome to Shadow's Edge, horsemen. Now, go as the crow flies, or your brother is lost.
This place looks familiar.
As well it should. This is the dark reflection of the crystal spire, a realm where demons, rather than angels, keep watch. But corruption turned their gaze inward, and what they saw there destroyed them.
What of the key?
It remains within, bound by a powerful master.
And that is going to do it for now. We're going to start the next dungeon next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.